there's one thing that I see almost all my students do, which is crossing the spine. The difference between an advanced microblader and a beginner is stroke placement. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to step up your game by respecting the spine. My name is Christy and I'm the owner of Boss Brows, 4-time certified microblading artist and trainer. The whole purpose of my channel is to build a community of fellow microblading artists where hopefully my experience and tips will help them improve their microblading. So if you could do me a favor and make sure to subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button, and that way more people will see this video and hopefully they can get the help too. There are two things that most new microbladers struggle with. One is how to curve your microblading stroke. Now this will come with practice, but I also have a video on how to curve your microblading stroke, so if you want to go and check that out. But the second is stroke placement. And a big part of that is not crossing the spine. The spine is that imaginary line that represents the transition of hair growth. There are many different stroke patterns, but in every stroke pattern there's a spine. And that spine is going to separate where the hair growth changes or transitions. What makes a really good eyebrow just look flawless is when those strokes are fluid and just smoothly transition. I'm going to show you some of my students' work. We've all been there and we've all made this mistake, and I want to make sure that everyone can improve their microblading. So the stroke pattern that I'm going to be showing you is the rainbow pattern, and that's when the strokes go in the direction of up, over, and down. It's a good basic model for a lot of people because hair, for the most part, does grow up, over, and then down towards the tail. So in this case, the spine will be in the middle, and the strokes on the front part of the brow are always going to be going up and over. And the strokes on the other side of the spine are going to be going over and down. The stroke should always be going up and over in the front because this actually gives a very lifting effect to the face and the eyes, and we really want to be opening up the eyes and making them look bright. The first thing I would recommend is when you're practicing on synthetic skin is to draw in your spine. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it on a client, but you totally can, whatever helps you. But if you draw in the spine, you can actually use this to navigate where your strokes are going to lay and what direction they're going to be moving in. What I know about the spine and what really helps me when I draw in the spine is that I can use it as a guide to where my stroke can finish. So my stroke should be pointing towards the spine in the front part of the brow because it's going up and over. So it will be facing or pointing towards the spine. And then on the other side of the spine, it will be moving away from that. In this case, it'll be moving towards the tail. So I'm gonna actually show you on my iPad exactly what not to do and how to fix those problems. This is an example of my student's work. You can see where she's starting to learn how to curve her strokes better, but the flow of the brow gets a little choppy around the transition. Here I've just circled the area of transition in the brow that doesn't look as fluid. I go over her strokes in pink and blue so you can see the strokes that are moving up and over in the front and the strokes that are moving over and down towards the tail. It's easier to see where the spine is getting crossed and how the brow doesn't flow as well. In this picture, I'm showing you how the brow transitions at the first blue stroke located on the top line. This is where you would draw in the spine, directly underneath that first blue stroke. Now, when you fill in the rest of the body, make sure those strokes are pointing towards the spine, which is in yellow, and the strokes on the other side of the spine should be pointing over and down towards the tail. Here's another student's work, and as you can see, she is struggling with the same thing, the transition. The transition looks super choppy, which affects the overall look of the brow. So there's two things you need to remember when practicing on synthetic skin. Understanding your stroke pattern and how the strokes should lay in order to have a good flow. And then also knowing how to curve your stroke appropriately. Some strokes will be a little curvier and others will need to be a little straighter, especially in the tail. Here's another example of a student's work. In brow number 12, the transition is much smoother, so the overall brow has a better flow. And that was done by respecting the spine. Whereas in brow number 16, the spine is much more choppy and the flow just isn't as smooth. Now that you see how to respect the spine, you can step up your microblading. I really hope this video helps you to respect the spine and create those fluid, beautiful strokes. Please make sure to subscribe down here at the corner and watch out for more videos every Tuesday and sometimes Thursdays. Thanks.